Bear with me for just a moment as we fix this. That's better. If anything, it's a little too loud, maybe, but it'll work because I won't be directly in front of the mic the whole time. Oh yeah, the okay, that's fun. Just a second, Cammy. I saw your, I saw your, I saw what you said. Oh, that's what I gotta fix the. All right, sick. It screwed with my chat. Do you play Death Guard in 30K, 40K, both? Because I know in 40K the Death Guard have been the Death Guard have either been my nightmare to play, especially as guard. They're a nightmare to play as guard against as guard because they have a lot of flamers and it just becomes they just mow down my infantry. It's a nightmare. But all their models are great. I have Death Guard models that at some point I need to get around. Get around at some point to painting. Perfect. I don't know how well you can see this. What's up, Filthling? The biggest problem I have has always been brush control with this, not getting enough water off of the brush, so I don't have the control I need to do any sort of glazing. I'm going to actually push this. I think we're going to glaze it right across. We're going to do a light source like right here as it comes across. And then down here. And make it nice and big towards the end. I haven't gotten to play a lot of 30K, or excuse me, 40K. A lot of 40K Emperor's Children. I haven't even gotten to play against them yet, unfortunately. I just don't have anybody in my community that plays them. But I did buy a squad of Emperor's Children Noise Marines so that I could paint them. And then I have the Cacophony for 30K as well, and I'll probably paint those around the same time. Yeah, I'm going to focus on the legs here first. I have a bad habit of just jumping around. And I really want to... I like the magenta look on them because it gives a more fade into the slow fade into chaos with 30K. And I think that's the most fun part of the Emperor's Children in 30K is, I mean, it's the slow fall. It's probably one of the best and well covered in the series, the Horse Heresy series as a whole. Because the Emperor's Children are very human. So it's easy to attach yourself to them or kind of see the flaws they have as they start to fall. Or at least the logic behind it. It's taken to an extreme. You know, it's hyperbolic like most things in 40K. But you have things like Fulgrim, as he starts to lose it, he even starts to see he starts to see things in his men like jealousy that isn't there. God damn it. And as he starts to see those, you really get a sense of just how far he's gone. He sees jealousy, he gives commands to his men, and he just sees jealousy that isn't there when it's just admiration. And there are times you read the book and you start to feel like maybe they're not going to make the choice. Maybe they're not going to do that. And of course they always do because they fall anyways, and there's no real way around that. I just enjoy that slow fall. Maybe it's because I haven't done this in so long, painted on stream, but I feel like I can't get what I want to talk about right. What I'm always surprised about with the Emperor's Children, though, is how little Eidolon gets talked about. He is over half of the perspective in the Emperor's Children's story as they start to descend. He is the protagonist in the majority of their books. Though protagonist is a rough word to use when talking about Eidolon or any of the Emperor's Children, other than maybe Solomon Demeter or Tarvitz or, of course, Rylanar. But you don't know a thing about being sexy. Hey, thanks you for the sub, Blue. Welcome back. You scared me for that. I forgot I set that up. The Emperor's Children, and I mean Eidolon is so over. I gotta move over. I'm sorry you guys can't see what I'm. What's crazy is I have the studio lights for taking pictures and the videos for the table, and the camera is just. I do not know what's going on with that. I think it's the light. Maybe it's too bright. Maybe. And the camera's adjusting. I'll have to note that down and fix it. But we get to see Eidolon just completely lose it throughout the series. And I think one of the... I'm doing good, Blue. How are you doing? I have, it's, the ZV... I don't remember what it is now. ZVF1. I got it to do some videos while I'm for what is the word I'm looking for? Battle reports. As I was a couple months ago, I was playing a lot more, and then I wanted to do that and take better pictures. Although my phone camera is perfectly fine, and I do intend to do a battle report once we finish these. It's going to be we're going to do a battle report on probably Emperor's Children versus Blood Angels. It's looking like, though there's a number of it might be Iron Warriors, which would be a great one because that's very reminiscent of um oh, I forgot the name of the book. It's one of the best books too. There's too many books rattling in my head. I've read all I This year I read all the Emperor's Children heresy books up to the Siege because the Emperor's Children kind of lose a lot of perspective after the Siege or in the Siege. You get a couple things, but nothing, not a lot. What is wrong? I cannot remember the book, but it's gonna come to me in like 5 minutes. But when Fulgrim falls and gets converted, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, reminiscent of the conflict between the Iron Warriors and the Emperor's Children, who don't really fight each other. They do a little bit. It's more of a brawl set on them by just too much warp energy going around because they're on a maiden world, an Eldar maiden world, next to the Eye of Terror. It's a grave world for them. And when Fulgrim ascends, it just kind of sets everything sets everything off. And they just you get war powers just going crazy, and we're just going to turn this into magenta here. And we're going to get the little top here. The biggest thing I always do when I'm painting is I do too many layers, and I get this clumping around any sort of raised parts. I'm going to do the belt here too. Well, this is probably the only highlight we're going to put on the belt because it's definitely recessed. So you don't need to go all out on that. Give this just a minute to dry. Angel Exterminatus, that's right. Thank you, Blue. Yeah, Fulgrim tricks Perturabo with the promise of great weapons. With the promise of great weapons to help defeat the Emperor, and most importantly, best Dorn at the palace. And of course, the weapon is actually Fulgrim. Is the ascension of Fulgrim, what turns out to be a completely useless weapon on the walls, because Fulgrim has I might have to get rid of that other window. Because Fulgrim's completely lost it. And you really get to see what that battle between. So on the walls in Saturnine, spoilers for anybody that hasn't read it or plans to. Fulgrim fights Dorn. He fights Sigismund first, and Sigismund gets rocked. And you get a great entrance scene by Dorn. But Dorn and Fulgrim have a duel, which in most cases, Fulgrim would win if he wasn't. Damn it! Keep moving over. If Fulgrim hadn't just lost himself to chaos, it would be an easy win for Fulgrim. He is arguably the best duelist within the Primarchs. At the very least, he is the best swordsman. And you have a culture of dueling within the Emperor's Children, both from the aristocrats in Europa. The Master of Mankind is a good book. A lot of people like it. When I first read it, I didn't enjoy it. And the reason why, when I went back and read it, is I think I had burnt myself out and read too many books. So when I went back and read it, I enjoyed it a lot more. But on the initial read, I couldn't appreciate anything in it. But it's one of the most important books in the series as well, and a much needed character perspective for the Emperor. But back to the duel. I think a lot of people miss the point of Fulgrim's like loss in that situation. I see it all the time. A lot of people like to hate Fulgrim. It's really easy to hate the Emperor's Children because later on they're so awful. They're insufferable. They're so very evil. They're easily the most evil traitor legion, even surpassing like the Night Lords. Um, because the Night Lords have like reason behind what they do. They're like, well, it's effective to bring this terror to those we're trying to subjugate. It's a tactic that isn't out of the fact that they just want to that they just want to be that way. Whereas the Emperor's Children are doing these things because it makes them feel good, because it's fun to do bad things, I guess. But Fulgrim, what people miss is that uh, I've talked to a couple people and seen a couple people make the claim that it's proof that Fulgrim was never a good duelist or never that great of a swordsman. But really, what it's really supposed to go, if you show when you read it, is how far Fulgrim has fallen from the act of trying to perfect what he's doing to the pride of just thinking he's better than everybody. He's become delusional. Um, the pain of taking wounds and stuff like that is more interesting than being good at what he's doing, as well. And I lost my train of thought. What is going on today? The prospect of being a good duelist, but as well, he's become so arrogant that he makes mistakes. And he talks about the fact that he can't die now, which also makes him clumsy when he's dueling, rather than what he used to be, which was a flawless swordsman and duelist. And we're told in Palatine Phoenix, which you could take it as it might be an unreliable source because it is actually a member of the Emperor's Children that state it, is that Fulgrim was designed to be a great duelist, the best duelist by the Emperor. That's one of his designs. And the Palatine Phoenix comes, it's 2017. It's a response to the lore problem they have in the early Horse Heresy books, where Fulgrim is awful. It's really hard to understand why Horus makes him his second in command when he rebels against the Emperor, because even before he has the Layer Blade, Fulgrim is awful. He doesn't seem to be competent, and you get that with Eidolon as well. And you question, like, was this guy? I keep going over it like this. Was he ever like, what is Horus doing? If he's so competent, why would he put Fulgrim in the position he's in? And the Palatine Phoenix kind of answers that with a more a more a more controlled and sane full version of Fulgrim. Fulgrim of what he's supposed to be, because we never really see it properly in books like Fulgrim. In the Fulgrim book in the Horse Heresy, I think the point of what I started to say here was the disaster that is the slow fall of Fulgrim. Right, and him losing that duel shows that he becomes clumsy because he doesn't care. He sees himself as mortal, and I forgot to put that on loop. A second. Hold on. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Oh, what's going on? The music isn't playing. I'm having serious issues today with everything. Whoa, a little loud there. Oh, there it goes. Hopefully that music isn't. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. You can't even hear it. What is going? Oh, there it goes. Nope, there it doesn't. Talk about scuffed. All right, let me know how that sounds instead. That should be better. Has some music in the background. Might be a little loud. Hopefully it's not too bad. Do we miss anything on here? I want to make sure we get the colors pretty dark. Yeah, we need to get this side. One of my favorite parts throughout the series, though, has got to be the growth of Eidolon. As he goes from worshipping Fulgrim, right? He sees him, he's one of the only Space Marines that sees him as an actual father, rather than just a gene father, which isn't normal. And the reason for that is we find out is that Fulgrim, Eidolon's biological dad just never really paid any attention to Eidolon because he was the second son. They're an aristocratic family, so he's of less value. And Fulgrim gives Eidolon praise and attention, sees his value after Fulgrim arrives, because before then Eidolon never really rises the ranks. He doesn't really do anything. And after Fulgrim's arrival, he finds inspiration to actually start to achieve things and go through the ranks. Because Eidolon's also one of the original Emperor's children. He's... By 40k, he is the only one that was alive before... Oh, no, he's the second to last of the only one, because he's older than Fabius. He's older than Fabius. He's been a Marine longer than Fabius. But other than Fabius, he's the only one that's been around since before the arrival of Fulgrim. So it gives him a unique perspective. But once Fulgrim starts to see his potential, he gives him praise for achieving things. And after that, Eidolon goes nuts. The only thing he wants to be is just like Fulgrim. But then, of course, what does Fulgrim do? He kills Ferrus Manus, and now he hates himself. And Eidolon is a reflection of Fulgrim now. He's done everything he can to be just like Fulgrim, master all the things that Fulgrim has mastered. So Fulgrim looks at Eidolon now and sees something that he despises within himself, even before his ascension, and even after his ascension. After things like that shouldn't matter anymore, he still can't stand to look at Eidolon. So he just torments Eidolon constantly, messing with him, and Eidolon is left, as we go later on in the books, with this feeling of always questioning whether or not something that's happening, and when something is happening, is it Fulgrim? So there's always that question amongst the Emperor's children, not just Eidolon, of is it Fulgrim? And you get some pretty interesting scenes, especially in... It's really highlighted in the Eidolon book, Auric Hammer, which is another book where the first time I read it, I don't think I appreciated it. And I went back and read it again a couple months ago. And there's a bunch of stuff that I missed. One of the things I missed was how they've elaborated on how noise marines work. Because they talk about in the Fulgrim book when the Emperor's children have the Maravilia, I can never say it right, happens in the La Fenice, which just means like concert hall in French, on the Pride of the Emperor, which is Fulgrim's flagship. when Beska Kinsker, oh my god, I gotta get something to drink. Hold on. Oh my god. When Beska Kinsker performs the Meraviglia, she summons demons because the instruments, the cacophony instruments, which is what they're called, are played. They're inspired by the temple on Lair, where Fulgrim finds the Lair blade that has a greater demon of Slaanesh bound within it. And there was always a question of how does that happen? And it turns out those weapons and certain songs and music weaken the threshold between the warp and reality. I am finish this statement. I'm going to get something to drink. It weakens the threshold between the warp and reality. So when these weapons are played, demons can pass through because the warp also has music to it, and that's important once you get into the noise marines. And in the Orc Hammer we see, and it's directly explained to us, that the noise marines, especially the more powerful ones, can hear that song and can see what's happening, so they become sorcerers because the Emperor's children don't have any gifts with the warp. For the most part, Fulgrim has latent abilities that he can't control. So they can see things like, for example, Fulgrim messing with Eidolon throughout the book. It's hinted at that the Noise Marines know it's Fulgrim messing with him. They know there's a reflection of Eidolon. It's pretty complicated, but there's a reflection of Eidolon. They're aware of what that is. They're aware that Fulgrim is messing with them because they can hear the sound, basically the music that's being caused by a specific demon, and they can see it. That's a really rough way to explain it, but they're sorcerers, basically. They're psychers for the Emperor's children. One of the reasons the Emperor's children don't have psychers is because the Emperor's children see it as a mutation and an impurity to their gene seed, and they're all about purity as a means to gain perfection. So Fabius and the other apothecaries specifically test for any sort of warp abilities or what was that? What's happening? Oh no, the camera. Oh, we're gonna have to end stream because the only way I can fix this, or we could shut off this camera and give me a second. I can't believe that just happened. It shouldn't have done that. Well, that's a shame. Give me a second here. I'm gonna move the mic over, and I'm gonna see if I can fix this. I'm gonna keep talking about Emperor's Children stuff though. So they do gene tests and blood tests to make sure that there's no... They're trying to test to make sure there's no warp mutations within the gene seed. Because, again, it's an impurity. The original idea behind the Emperor's Children isn't perfection. It's the pursuit of the removal of impurities from everything they do, with the idea that to not try to reach or maintain purity in their actions and their activities is to fail the Emperor. As a result, there's no psychers. The Emperor's children also have the purest gene seed with the less mutations. You know, they're not the Thousand Sons where they don't explode, but they Well, they kind of explode. They explode into chaos mutations. I don't know if I can fix this. That's a shame. I can't believe this happened. Oh, it did fix it. Will it fix it on this? Hold on, give me a second here. Hey-oh! Alright, that didn't work in the past. I'm gonna get something to drink because I keep coughing here. The battery is dead on the camera, and the cable I use to connect to the computer does not charge it. And this is my fault. I was supposed to stream yesterday, and when they started doing construction outside, I stopped, but I left the camera on to test to make sure how long it before I need to adjust anything. And I forgot to charge it. So it's going to die. It's going to keep doing it. Well, I guess we'll be back tomorrow to stream properly because I really don't want to stream with a tiny little webcam on the side. I don't even know if I need that. My apologies for that. I did not expect that to happen. I knew it was a possibility and I had already planned for it and charged it, and then I forgot. I forgot after I ran it yesterday for a test. What a disaster! So I want to thank everybody that came and chatted with me. We're going to do this tomorrow. I'll have everything set up and we won't have this problem again. That's my bad. Talk about a scuff scream. Oh my god. Maybe I'll be able to speak better too. And I hope everybody has a good day and get some hobby work in. And maybe go read The Emperor's Children. Go get one of the novellas. Go check one of those out. The Eidolon ones are really good. Imperfection is really good. It's a little late into the story, but the Orc Hammer, I don't think you can appreciate. If you want to read the Orc Hammer, Eidolon Orc Hammer, I would not recommend starting there. It should be basically one of the last books you read. That's what it is in the series. But a lot of it won't make sense. You won't get the conflict between Eidolon and Fulgrim fully, and why he has so much disdain. Why Eidolon disdains Fulgrim, and why Fulgrim has such a problem with Eidolon and that conflict. So, although it's probably the best book of the Heresy, it's not even technically in the Heresy series, but it takes place in the later stages of the Horse Heresy before the Siege. I think you need to read some of the other books beforehand. And I would recommend even checking out some of the later novellas. I think the novellas really Imperfect. Imperfect or Imperfection, I can't remember which one, is one of the better. If you read that, I think you'll explain it. It also, actually, I think you need to read that before you read Orc Hammer, or else you won't understand. Yeah, you won't understand what happens between the two of them. But I hope everybody has a good day. Thank you for coming. And I will see everyone tomorrow.